Welcome to the Sex and Love Labcast. Today's going to look a little different. I'm going to get a little personal. Breakups are hard. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Sex and Love Labcast. Camera, don't you do it to me. Don't do it. I don't think it I don't think it knows where to focus without me having mascara on. So, I know I don't have on any makeup. My bed's a little bit more disheveled. The rest of the room is a wreck. Um, you guys know, I've been dating somebody. Talked about him on the last two podcasts, and talked about how we live 2 hours away. Makes things hard, you know. And I have had a couple of really rough weeks, and he has also had a couple of really rough weeks. We had to put off me going to see him last weekend because of some things going on in his life. And so we were very excited to get to see each other. What would have been this past weekend? Um, Saturday night, he got off work. He gets settled at home. We FaceTime. We're talking. Not going to stay up late because he's got church the next morning and I have to get up and then drive. And we we were talking about we our plan was to binge watch Grumpy Old Man and Grumpier Old Man, and I had bought some marshmallow fluff, and he had bought some Mexican cokes because he's got good taste in beverages. And we were going to do those the viral drinks where you like line your cup with marshmallow fluff and then you pour your drink in or whatever. And ooh, we even have plans to put in some s'mores bourbon that I have tasted at his house before, and it is so good. And we're going to order pizza, and we were so excited. And went to bed. I had wanted to have a conversation with him about like the next coming months. He is a teacher, and his schedule this year um, was gonna be busy. And so I went to bed Saturday night thinking about this conversation that I wanted to have with him about, pulling back a little bit, maybe not doing phone calls every night because it does keep one or both of us up. Not late, but you know, it keeps us up. And then, just trying to see each other every other week instead of me coming there every other week and then meeting, halfway on off weeks. I was trying to be a healthy adult in a relationship. Come on, come on. And maybe I don't want to say sacrifice, but sacrifice some time and just connection time with him in order for him to be able to get through his semester relatively unscathed and at least a little well rested because he has not slept much. Um, so my phone rings at 9:20 a.m. yesterday morning. I'm supposed to leave town at 11:30, and it is Mister. And I'm like, oh God, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he just starts to tell me how he wants somebody closer that can see, come over to his house more often, or they can meet up more often, um, and how this just isn't working for him. Now, keep in mind, like he had bought the Mexican Cokes on Saturday for us to consume the next day. We were on FaceTime till after midnight on Sunday. And then he called at 9:20. So somewhere in the span of 9 hours, he has decided this is too much. And hey, you know what? Sometimes you just hit a point and you're like, that's all that I can take. And it has been hard. And I mean, the last 2 weeks for both of us individually have been very difficult. And so, I mean, I know that all I wanted was to just be there with him when I was going through the things I was going through. And I'm sure he was feeling some of that as well. Also, I did use some herbal elevation methods. I may have to pause it to use some more, but between that and the crying, I'm just going to be a mess. Okay. But to kind of put a pause on things, I had messaged my roommate today and I was like, I don't want to do the podcast. And she's like, so don't do it. And I was like, well, but I took the whole month of December off to like figure out what this relationship was going to be and how to then reframe my podcast. And I've done two podcasts and now I'm going through this breakup with this person. And now I'm just going to not do my podcast. Like that feels a little like, I don't know. I just felt like that wasn't right. That wasn't right. And so she said, okay, actually, I'm going to read you exactly what she said. Because also, like, I had to go get a grocery order in 45 minutes. And I have to then have a client meeting in between there. And then I'm playing, my little niece wants to play Among Us. So I had to play Among Us. And at some point, I had to eat dinner because I haven't eaten dinner since Saturday night. And so there's all of that too. And she said, also, I know it will be hard to do it, but maybe do the podcast real. No makeup, just raw. And show the raw emotions. Just see how it goes. I know that's scary as fuck. And I said, gross. And then 8 minutes later, I said, I'm going to do it. And so I got up and I literally just like, I put on some clothes. I've been in my gown, put on some clothes. I tried to make sure my hair was at least, you know, a little okay. And here I am. And also, I'm stuffy from the tears, but also my allergies have been crazy the last few days. And so I'm just really sorry. In fact, I need to blow my nose real bad. So, you don't want to hear that? Bear with me. All right. So, as I was saying, she's like, just do it like you are, you know? And I mean, like, it is currently Monday at 4:14 p.m. I literally have not eaten since Saturday night at about 7. Um, I'm tired. I slept till 2 o'clock today. I had therapy this morning. I didn't sleep at all yesterday after he called, but like I just decided to do it. So now to go back to where we were, he tells me that he wants someone closer. And I was really proud of me because I didn't respond like with anger. Like I was just like, I was actually going to have a conversation with you about backing off a little bit. And so it was kind of funny that I went to bed thinking about these conversations and then here he was, he just decided that he was done. But um we were on the phone for about 16 minutes and as he did early on in the relationship, he goes, we both have some anxieties and some things from the past that affect how we react and respond to the moment, right? And so he early on he had a little spiral thing about coincidentally not having enough time and just for his life and work and then something like this and but he was able to recognize what was going on and instead of just saying this is done, this is too hard, which I even offered to do that first time, he's like, I need to talk to, my therapist and just make sure that I'm okay to do this. And he did, and he was for 7 more weeks. And then I guess he wasn't. So I tried to talk him down, and I don't remember everything that I said. I remember telling him, I do feel like I am even the only one that's been really trying with communication the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if I said it in a different way, like, or if he just heard what he wanted to hear. He was like, "You are not the only one that's been doing the communicating." I said, "No, no, it's not what I said." But like during the day, like I'm usually the only one that texts. Like, he usually will text me every once in a while, but I had gotten to where I was the one that initiated more often than not, and that's okay sometimes. Um, but so that just it just really caught me like crazily off guard. I was not prepared for it at all. My bag is it's still packed. Like my bag is so packed. It just blew me out of the water. Like, and so like at first, like I finally was like, because he kept repeating himself over and over. I'm like, I hear you. Like, I hear what you're saying. He's like, well, I feel like I'm not being heard. I hear you. I was like, so, that's it. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm trying to tell you why we should do this, why this is worth this, and this is what you want. So, I guess talk to you never again. You know, have a nice life. We hung up, and so I get up and I go into my roommate's room and I accidentally dial him, and then I realized it and I hung up, and he calls me back immediately, and I hit the red button and I was like, "Hey, I didn't mean to call you," and he said, "Okay." And so then I told her what happened, and I was just like, "I what?" And the thing was, and that he something he doesn't know as of right now is that last weekend I got to this point where I didn't get to go see him last weekend because his mother was in the hospital, and I missed him. Like it hurt so much not getting to go see him, and I realized how my feelings are growing, and I realized how just healthy everything was and how above board it was, and um I got really scared. I was like, oh my god, I need to break up with him. I need to break up with him before he breaks up with me. But I had the wherewithal to reach out to friends, and say, hey, this is what's going on in my head. And then they talked me down. And I was like, he didn't have anybody to talk him down this time. Like he didn't reach out to somebody to try to like talk things out in his head. And so I decided I was going to call him back and tell him that, you know, this happened and this is why I didn't do this then. So I'd already told him that I wasn't going to beg him to be with me, I'm not. And I also told him he couldn't come back to this. Like I just feel like after his expectations, he works 75 hours a week. He has one full day, mostly free. It's Sunday, so he has church. And then he has one night free a week. And so that's what really got me is that I don't think there are many people who would like how if he still has to sleep, you have 2 nights a week that you can go on a date and hang out, and that's only one more. I mean, I guess it's double, but it's only one more than what we were doing. And so it just didn't make sense to me. And I even on the phone call was like, "Is there somebody else that you're talking to?" And he's like, "No. Do you think that I would do you like that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I don't even know what we are." I called him my boyfriend to somebody the other day, and I mentioned that to him on the phone, and it didn't look like he liked that so much. So I don't even know. I mean, other than just we were two people that were seeing each other, we didn't have a title. And I don't know if that was bothering him too. Like I'm so confused about everything. Like, I'm so confused. But anyway, he didn't answer, and so I sent him a text, and I was like, well, I'm in it then. Um, but don't worry, it doesn't matter. Good luck. And I was okay. Like, I was really okay. I was like, this is not my fault. I I had tried to be as a like I even at my new job set my availability around being able to see him once a week. So like, so when you come at me and you're like, I we don't have enough time together. Whoa, whoa. I mean, it was hard. It was, man, it was hard, but like, I don't know. I've done long distance before, and this is a short long distance. This is, 2 hours away as opposed to 24 hours away, you know. Um, and so this is in some ways was harder, but also a lot easier because I did get to see him more often. And so Sunday, I was just kind of, yesterday, I was just kind of on autopilot all day long, all day long. Just, I don't remember. I remember I trying to watch Cake Wars, but I think most of the day, like, I really love Good Mythical Morning, and they have a Roku channel where it just plays 24/7. And I'm pretty sure I had that on most of the day and then was like scrolling just mindlessly. Like, I really don't remember the day. I texted some people to tell them what happened. Um, I posted on Facebook. I was like, well, time to unpause the dating profile. And then, man, I we met on Facebook dating, and I immediately went in and unmatched. Like, I deleted his conversation. And then I was so sad last night. And the thing is, I only had like 6 messages there. So if it was even that, before we moved to Messenger, but I just, like, as the day progressed, I did start to get more sad. But like, there's a lot that has happened that I haven't told you guys about. Did you hear that noise? So the air conditioner makes that noise sometimes. I lost my job at the sex shop. Um, it's been almost 2 weeks ago. The day this comes out, Tuesday. Today's Monday. Tomorrow, as of tomorrow, it'll be 2 weeks. And I don't have any desire to discuss why, um, for a lot of reasons. But it was very unexpected, and it was a really big blow. I did bounce back. I got a job like literally within 2 days, and I started that job last week. But I also lost my Dom, ex Dom, former Dom, whatever you want to call him. When the Mister and I both decided to pause our dating profiles, I I ended things with my Dom officially because you know, I didn't want there to be any hard feelings. And there had been a situation prior to that we had had to establish some rules for, and he broke one of those rules. Now, the consequence for the rule was that is immediate termination from my life. That's how serious I was about the rule. He had even come back and asked me about it the week prior, and I said no. I said I'm not ready for you to, you know, do what this is. And we kept those rules up, and it was agreed that we kept those rules up even after we formally split up because we were still friends. He's still in my life. I still talk to him every day. Our dynamic just changed. And I lost him because he broke the rule. I confronted him about it. He blamed it on me. In fact, his immediate response was something like, "You don't ever have any empathy for me. All I ever have is empathy from you, and I give it, and you don't ever give me any empathy." So we shouldn't apply it all to the situation, by the way, at all. And then he said something else, which is what has happened in the past. And so, I mean, um, but there's just been a lot of loss. There are a couple of coworkers that I haven't spoken to since I was let go of my job, and just feels like I've lost them too. And I considered them to be friends, close friends, and family. And it's been a rough couple of weeks, and then this happened. And you know what the thing is that I knew it was coming. Like, and people always tell me like not to think that way, and because your thoughts become realities. And I mean, if that's true, there's a lot of things I have thought that haven't become realities that I'm kind of upset about. But but I would hate to think that was true. But I just felt it. Like I could see it in his face. And he even told me, like on the phone, I said, I knew this was going to happen. And he said, I didn't know that that this was, what, how I felt until today. I was like, okay, but I knew it was going to happen. um, sometimes I'm an empath, and sometimes it's a little more than an empath. And I just know things. And, I just know things, and I knew things. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his body. I could just see it, And so it wasn't unexpected in that I knew that it was going to happen, but it was so unexpected in when it happened and the reason. Like, you guys, when I tell you he has no time for himself, he has no time for himself. And so to break up with me, who we have such a great connection, like we both agreed that from early on we knew this wasn't like a 1 or 2 date thing. We talked on our last date, which was 2 weeks ago, last night, uh, that this was long term for us. So to go from that to him breaking up with me because there's not enough time to spend with me, when he literally doesn't have time to let his dog out on a regular schedule. It was wild. And I mentioned that, I think he was just spiraling. I think that the week got to him, and I think that he spiraled, and I was probably the easiest thing to let go of, which kind of sucks. But like, as far as obligations go, I was probably the easiest thing to let go of. I mean, if the tables were turned and I was freaking out about something, then he would probably be the first thing to go to. So I suppose that's fair. It just was crazy to me that that was the reason. Um, of all the things that I thought it would be, that wasn't it. Like, we had a conversation about what I do and how I was afraid that that was going to affect his career in the future. And his response was, Lauren, we can't put out a fire if there's not a fire to put out. And I had even had a conversation with him later. I was like, I realized like you really try. You exhaust all options before you call it quits. I said, so I trust you that if a fire arises, that we're going to look for every solution possible before it has to end. It's like, I've never really thought about it, but I guess just because there's a fire doesn't mean that if the house goes up. But he didn't try to find solutions this time. And that's his right. I wasn't even mad. I mean, I was upset, and I'm upset now. And it wasn't until last night when I talked to my mom on the phone that I even cried for the first time. And oh, it was just rough. Like, because I just told her the night before, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know what this is going to be. Because I had canceled, we were supposed to go meet her halfway between where he lives and where she lives. And I had canceled it because I told her, I was like, I feel like this is going to be too much for him. And then when I told him that on the phone, he was like, oh no, it would have been fine. But it only would have been fine if I had lived there and been able to be closer. And then I even mentioned, that I had, he's like, and what's going to happen? Is one of us going to move? I'm not going to move. I can't move. And with his position, the way he's trying to grow in his career, he can't move. And he's also got his mom and stepdad there who are not in great health, and his dad and stepmom. And but I had always known that it would be me that moved to where he is. And he's like, and I said that. He's like, yeah, but you can't do your business here, your coaching here. I was like, my coaching is not location based. And he's like, yeah, but your sponsors are. No, they're not. And he wouldn't listen to reason. And I hate it. I hate it real bad because he was really good for me for sure. And I know that there had been moments that he would tell you that I was really good for him. Like we were both giving each other corrective emotional experiences. Um, but then like within the moving conversation, I was like, I would be willing to move there in a few months. And he's like, with my last relationship, there's just no way that I can move in with anybody in less than a year. I'm old. I'm old. Like I'm not trying to move in with anybody like right now. I don't want that. Like I don't, especially in this situation where we only get to see each other once, once a week. Like I don't know you that well, but if we make an effort to, then maybe in a few months. And I also had like an alternate plan in my head that I had not told him about because I felt like because his timelines for some of the other things in his relationships, like um like sex. Had told me he normally only has sex with women after 3 months, and it was 3 weeks for us. And I was like, "Did you just think I'm a whore?" Like, and he said, "No." He said, "I just felt really comfortable with you. We spent so much time getting to know each other, but now we don't have enough time to get to know each other." I don't know. Anyway, so that was his reasoning for that. And then he said normally doesn't meet parents till after 6 months, and this was going to be 2 months. And he was like, it's okay because there's a reason for it, and there was a reason for it. My mom wanted to pick something up from me, and yeah. So it just felt like he got in his head, and just kind of spiraled and couldn't stop. And it's a shame because we did have a great connection, and we had talked about some future things, and um, so many of our likes overlap. We did have a couple of like differences that could have been issues, and we both knew that. Um, but I was really proud of me, and I am really proud of me. My past relationships have caused me to have a very anxious attachment style, and I really was able to work through that. I hate that I don't get to then like continue practicing that, but I will eventually. But I was able to work through that and learn a lot about myself. My mom even made the comment, and normally I would take offense to this, but I didn't. She said, I even told your dad that you just seem so much more subdued, like not as cranked up. And he literally just I told him many times, I was like, it's like I've always just been floating right here, like way up here in the clouds. And like he was down here, and we just were able to meet each other in the middle, and it felt so complimentary. Um, and I did feel so much more subdued. So I really hope that I can take this experience and move forward with that knowledge, that I've learned in the last 8 weeks and give it to somebody else now. I was really excited to share this piece of me that is as healed as I have ever been. And I did so much more healing in that short amount of time. And I know, people, everything happens for a reason. We humans like to connect the dots and make things make sense. And I can, nothing really makes sense about this. And I know that in a week or two, month or two, I'll be able to look back and be like, oh gosh, yeah, this was leading me to this point. You know, I'm sure that's going to happen for me. Um, so I'm very thankful for this experience. And I guess I'm thankful for the end, because if it's not for you, if this was not for me, then there's something that is that's better. And this was so good, so fast that there's, I can't imagine what else, what else is out there. I can't imagine. So, I do still want to talk about some of the things that happened within our sexual um, relationship, and I will. But I think that I owed it to you guys to show you this part too. Like, it's really easy to be here, and it's really easy to be a coach and to be, oh, it's not easy to be coach, but it's easy to be able to see, like, you see the full picture of somebody when they're going through what they're going through. And it's so easy for me to say, hey, this is the path that you should take. And I have told that to many people, and those paths worked. Um, and so, some we would have to try different ways, but like for the most part, we got somebody where they wanted to go. And so it's so different to be the one that is right here, because I don't see the forest, I'm in the trees. And but I am thankful that even just, 24 hours after, well, 36, closer to 36, I'm able to maybe make a little bit of sense of it. Um, I, I want to be able to say that I would never take him back. But I have learned to never say never. It was that great, So there would have to be some serious conversations about things like what just happened and how we're gonna deal with those. But I mean, I guess just more than anything, I am just going to be open and vulnerable and give other people a chance to. Um, I am not good at being those things, and I had to be those things with him, and so I'm hoping that I can take that into experiences and be more open to other things. So I think that's it. I think that's all. I have got a grocery order I got to pick up in 20 minutes, and um, I'm not going to even mention any sponsors. I'm not going to even give you my information. This is not about that. I'm a human too. I was hoping to wait a little bit longer to tell you guys about him, but I wanted to get my podcast back going and kind of had to. And I was hoping to wait because of this so that I didn't then look stupid. But if I look stupid, I just look stupid. I'm a human, and that's basically what I'm saying is like today's episode is not about making any money. Today's episode is not about getting you to, um, you know, make me your coach. It's to let you know that we're all human and we're all hurting. And even him, like, I'm not mad at him. I feel bad for him and his situation, but I'm not mad at him. So, Love your folks around you. Give people hugs. They need them. I love you guys. Bye.